Hey, what's going on, guys? Ace John here, and today we're going to be looking at some Datamines for Season of the Splicer, aka spoilers. So if you're not interested in spoilers, click off the video now. I will have timestamps in the description down below, which should show up on the bar of the video in case you want to skip certain spoilers. But before we jump into this, I asked if you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, leaks, tutorials, and more, that you go and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's jump into it. So starting off here, we're actually just going to go over some broad strokes of some story points that are going to happen, major story points that are happening in this season that have been data mined. First up is sort of a known one, if you pay attention to the intro mission, is that Korea is responsible for the Endless Night, and we defeat her. They don't exactly say that we kill her, they say defeated, which could mean we kill her, but they're not really specific. At some point during the season, maybe around week 4 of the season, or week 9, we're not exactly sure, Lakshmi 2 will actually lead a coup against the Vanguard from her hatred of the Fallen. Within this coup, she opens a Vex portal in the Fallen quarter of the city to kill them, as she believes they will further the Endless Night, and because of that, this actually results in a brand new override location popping up in the last city. I'd probably have to say within that Scourge of the Past boss arena where we see all the Fallen just chilling at the Fallen camp. I'm probably gonna have to say that's where it's gonna take place. Now, the thing that makes this even more significant of an event is that Lakshmi actually ends up dying within the Vex invasion. Because of this failed coup attempt, New Monarchy and Dead Orbit and presumably what's ever left of Future War Cult do end up getting exiled from the last city. Another thing that's sort of suspicious in that we sort of discussed in the major leaks video, but in the previous leaks video I made, one of the main leaks in that was that Osiris was replaced by Savathun. So what ends up supporting this is that leading up to this coup, actually Lord Saladin ended up catching wind of this, and he was going to go tell Zavala. However, Osiris ends up intercepting him and telling him that he'll take care of it, which Osiris ends up not taking care of it. Meaning, surprisingly, Osiris ends up supporting the coup. And then after the coup happens, Osiris mysteriously disappears and no one can find him. Which, again, this would support the theory that Savathun has replaced Osiris, because this is very unusual behavior for him. Anyways, after this failed coup attempt, Mithrax and the House of Light does end up helping defend against the Vex invasion that Lakshmi opened up on the last city, and because of this, Saint 14 ends up completely removing his prejudices against the House of Light and vows to protect them. Also, because of House of Light's help on the Vex invasion on the last city, this does ends up essentially get the whole last city to finally accept these Elixni that have been living with us for a bit. Because of this does ends up bringing our alliance counter up to 2, because now we have Kaido's Cabal as well as Mithrax's House of Light. On the expunged side of the story, aka the weekly story mission that we end up doing every week for the season, it seems like there will be a total of 7 variants of this mission, 4 Vex ones and 3 Taken ones, and it also seems like this is where we will be taking down Korea, which that pretty much wraps it up for Season 14 story leaks. However, it seems like through Ginsor's data mines of the text strings, we also end up finding out that we're going to have some sort of party involving the Fallen Cabal and Taken allies, with all Guardians invited. Now, the reason why I'm calling this a Season 15 spoiler is currently at the moment, the only person who we know controls the Taken would be Korea and Savathun, and we're going to be taking down Korea this season. However, next season, because we take down Korea and it ends up screwing with the Dreaming City curse, we should have to interact with Savathun, and if the leak that we got is anything to go by, that Savathun took Osiris from us and has been cosplaying as Osiris this entire time, and is actually holding Osiris captive, this does make sense that once we remove her worm for her, that she ends up allying with us and allowing us to use the Taken. So because we end up having this alliance with the House of Light Fallen, Kaido's Cabal, and Savathun's Taken, it seems like we will be using that to fully secure the European Dead Zone. If you're not aware, that's where the remaining Red Legion are actually hanging out. They have a huge base there. So if we clear that out, we essentially have the European Dead Zone, thus making it a irrelevant patrol location. Which, with where all the lore hinting is going, this should mean that the European Dead Zone is the next location to get vaulted, most likely in Witch Queen, and should be replaced by Old Chicago, which, like Europa, has been worked on since Destiny 1, and was originally planned for Destiny 1, but was cut, never made it into Destiny 2, and then through the Anon the 9 leaks, we ended up learning that Old Chicago, as well as Europa, and Venus, was actually planned for Destiny 3. One last thing in order to talk in the story department, it seems like when Future War Cult was using their Vex prediction engine to see what would happen during the coup, apparently when they open up the Vex portal, Asher ends up speaking, which this right here confirms that Asher is alive. Since the vaulting of Io, we have assumed that Asher Mir ended up dying in the Pyramidion. However, this seems to confirm that he's still alive, and he could be the focus of a future plot point. So when thinking Vex fiends going forward, keep that in mind, as he may be trapped in a similar place akin to Praedyth. But speaking of Praedyth in the Vaulted Glass, unfortunately we won't be able to see him in the Vaulted Glass. However, data miners have been able to pull the intro area of Vaulted Glass from Destiny 2. And here, right here on screen, I have a comparison of the D1 Vaulted Glass area versus the D2 Vaulted Glass area. And other than the additions of more details, it seems like the outside of Vaulted Glass will look very similar. However, that's not all that was data mined with Vaulted Glass. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to see what the Tempo's Edge, aka the Day 1 triumphs, will look like. However, we have been able to data mine what some of the Title Seal triumphs will be. If you don't know, there is a Title Seal for the Vaulted Glass called, I think it's called Fate Breaker, but we're just gonna rapid fire through these. First up with the Conflex challenge, it's called Dragon's Den. They say complete the Conflexes encounter while defeating Wyverns with only super damage. Then with the Oracles, it's called Take Cover. You can't defeat any Hobgoblins during the Oracles encounter. Then the Templar triumph is to complete the Templar encounter while never blocking the Templar's teleport. Also, the challenge mode for the Templar is to block every single teleport, so this will be interesting. Then for Gatekeepers, it's called Rabid Relic, and they want you to complete the Gatekeepers encounter while only using Relic super damage to defeat Praetorians. Then lastly here with Atheon, it seems like we have the classic Atheon challenge returning, that being Ensemble's Refrain. That's where every single person on your team was only allowed to defeat one Oracle. But it seems like we'll have a new challenge tied to the title seal called Eyes of Atheon, which states defeat Atheon without destroying any supplicants, which, I don't know, people kind of low-key didn't do that in D1, so I'm not too worried about this challenge. Besides, we got stasis nowadays. We can freeze them supplicants. Also, one last thing to note with this Triumph Seal, it seems like there will be a title tied to the Gorgon's Labyrinth called Too Fast, 2 Gorgons, and they want us to complete the Gorgon's Labyrinth encounter while defeating 2 or more Gorgons within 3 seconds of each other, which is it's going to be difficult if the leaks stating that Gorgons are going to have 12 times the health is correct. Overall, it seems like this Vaulted Glass Fate Breaker seal is starting to look like a very challenging title seal, which is good because, in my opinion, the last 2 title seals haven't been that challenging. Also, here in Datamines, there isn't much here regarding Solstice of Heroes, but I just wanted to show off the Solstice of Heroes armor because that was indeed Datamined. I'm not really liking the looks this year. I mean, it looks okay, but compared to last year, I kind of expected more, but it's whatever. But it seems like armor won't be the only pursuit for Solstice of Heroes this year. We can't find anything in the database at the moment. However, in one of the trailers for Season of the Splicer, we did end up noticing a Solstice of Heroes shotgun, which will be interesting if it has good rolls, which hopefully it does. But anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for the data mines for this season. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give a like. If you want to stay up to date on this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, this was H. John, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.